Justin said this was an arranged marriage, which seemed to take place by people from his church, that he's no longer associated with them. And now he's crashing out all over social media.
Apparently starts dating your daughter. I think they just had a 6-year anniversary or something.
Show him the video of me introducing my daughter. Did you ever see that?
Which one is this?
So Google Stephen Baldwin introducing Hailey to Justin. You ever see this?
No, I have not.
You want to see why this kid married my daughter? It's because I let him.
To our lobby.
Seriously, I have no idea what I'm about to see here.
What? Yeah, no, this is cute.
Nearly 10 years ago. But first, an update on Justin Bieber and Hailey Baldwin. The couple, if you don't know, they are engaged. Bieber confirmed the news on Instagram, writing, "My heart is completely and fully yours, and I will always put you first. You are the love of my life, Hailey Baldwin, and I wouldn't want to spend it with anybody else." There's what he wrote in part. And why am I here in the lobby right now? I'm here because this is the exact spot where Justin and Hailey met for the very first time. Here's the video to prove it.
My name's Steve. And the third song, this is my daughter Hailey. The third song, we've been enjoying your music.
Wow.
Justin Bieber's marriage has always looked glossy from the outside. The Instagram perfect couple, the designer campaigns, the baby announcement that briefly melted the internet. But if you listen to the people who've been tracking this story for years, a very different picture starts to emerge. One of a man boxed in by faith, pressure, guilt, and a deal he can't easily walk away from. In this version, Justin isn't the golden boy who finally settled down. He's a guy who walked into a courthouse in 2018 because he was told there was a baby on the way, and never got the baby he thought he was agreeing to. The story that's been whispered in blind items and gossip circles is brutal. That Hailey told him she was pregnant, allegedly showed him a positive test that wasn't even hers, and used his religious guilt and his desperation for stability to push him into a fast, quiet wedding with no prenup.
Hailey's maybe, we don't know, but she certainly didn't lose it on her wedding day or anything like that. It was probably way, way, way back. We don't know if it was Justin. It could have been when, he was 16 or 17 and she was 15. That's entirely possible, but we don't know. We do know that Hailey, like I said, was seen on the arms of a lot of older guys for a lot of years until she finally managed to lock Justin down. But there didn't seem to be, it wasn't as if Justin and Hailey were dating for a long time before they got married. Yes, they'd be seen together on and off and everything like that. But in that spring and summer of 2018, he was seeing at least 3 or 4 people. And then that's why it was such a shock that all of a sudden, they go to the courthouse and they get married.
And what you're saying now is the first time that it makes sense to me. If she was pregnant and said that she was pregnant, I would see Justin wanting to do the right thing because he was kind of like he started to move into a religious arc and kind of have that influence over him, and probably that pressure on him to do the right thing and to marry her and to settle down, because he's even said that he thought it would solve all his problems, but it just made him worse. It just amplified his problems. But her being pregnant or allegedly faking a pregnancy, it's the only thing that makes sense as to why he would hurry up and marry her and then marry her without a prenup.
Yes.
Then what we're looking at isn't some fairy tale romance. It's a trap disguised as a love story. To understand how stuck he looks now, you've got to go back to that messy summer of 2018. Justin was ping-ponging between Selena Gomez, Hailey, and a rotation of other women, spiraling in and out of religious phases and drug use, canceling tours, crashing emotionally, and trying to outrun his own history. According to the Gossip Insider in that transcript, Justin would only call Hailey when he wanted a hookup, and she was always around.
I think that, you go back in time, and the first time, I think Justin was probably about 15 when he first met Hailey, and Hailey was 13. And you can see in this first meeting, because the first time that they met is actually captured on video, because Stephen Baldwin, Hailey's dad, had brought, Hailey to meet Justin, and it felt like, he wanted to kind of set the stage for something to happen in the future. So, you do have that always in the back of your mind. Now, the thing about the Justin and Hailey relationship up until they got married in 2018 was that Justin would only call her when he wanted a hookup.
Flying to meet him, hanging on, waiting. Selena, meanwhile, was on her own emotional cliff, admitted to treatment, surrounded by rumors of self-harm and breakdowns, while their on-off relationship exploded in public. In the middle of that chaos, Justin suddenly appears at a New York courthouse with Hailey in September 2018 and marries her with shocking speed. No long engagement, no cooling off period, no clarity, just a rushed marriage that allegedly made sense to insiders only when they heard the rumor. Hailey told him she was pregnant. For a guy who'd been shoved into religion, surrounded by pastors and spiritual advisors who framed marriage as the right thing, a positive test was the perfect emotional chokehold. You get a young man with guilt, trauma, and a savior complex. You say, "I'm carrying your child," and you don't need a ring box. You've already got a cage. But here's where it really gets dark. That alleged pregnancy never materialized. No baby in 9 months, no public miscarriage statement, no clear explanation. Just a marriage that's suddenly permanent and paperwork that, by all accounts, did not include a prenuptial agreement.
Like in September of 2018, Justin and Hailey go get married. It's just out of the blue. Why would you get married like that? So the story goes that Hailey told him that she was pregnant and got urine from a friend of hers who had just had a positive pregnancy test, and then had that, and showed him that she was indeed pregnant. Because they're very religious, they go ahead and they get married, but look, there's no baby later.
What?
That detail matters more than anything, because Justin isn't just a husband, he's an empire. Catalog, masters, real estate, brand deals, future touring money, publishing, investments. All of that becomes marital property the second he signs without protection. If there really was no prenup, then every year he stays, every song he records, and every business move he makes builds a bigger safety net not just for his family, but specifically for Hailey if things ever blow up. Add in the fact that her family was never swimming in Bieber-level money and has openly benefited from her status, and you start to see the long game. She didn't just marry a pop star, she chained her financial future to his name. And then, years later, when they finally did welcome a baby boy, that chain got another lock. Now it's not just about money, it's about custody, image, and the emotional fallout of walking away from your wife and your child under the full glare of the internet. Meanwhile, Justin looks like a man trying to crawl out of a life he signed onto without really understanding what it would cost him. The transcript lays out a pattern. He's constantly crashing out on social media, going live looking gaunt, posting childhood photos, sounding like someone stuck between nostalgia and regret. He's reportedly avoiding Hailey in public, ducking into restaurants once she leaves, going to movies alone, and posting songs and captions that feel more like subtweets than love letters. A Beyoncé track about betrayal and being replaceable. A Jezebel reference attached to his own wife. Embarrassing pictures of her thrown onto the feed like emotional grenades. You don't do that if you're happy. You do that when you're suffocating, but you don't see a clean door out. Because what happens if he files for divorce? Instantly, he's the villain. The man who left the woman who stood by him through everything. The mother of his son, the wife who publicly defends him and keeps a steady face while he cycles through breakdown after breakdown. Add in years of alleged manipulation, a father-in-law who trashes him.
And if you ever screw up, you don't got to worry about me. You ever hurt my daughter, you don't got to worry about me. I got one word for you if you ever do anything to hurt my daughter. And it's not Jesus. It's Alec. I said, Google Alec Baldwin upset.
You don't say this to him.
Right to his face. I go, I'm making a joke back to him saying, it's me. I'm a legend of one of the Baldwin brothers, and we kick people's ass sometimes.
Pastors who used him, and an industry that knows way more than it ever says, and you have someone who's angry, cornered, and dangerous mostly to himself. From Hailey's side, the performance of devotion is relentless. She defends him publicly. She keeps the brand partnership machine running. She carries the image of the loyal wife who will stick it out through sickness and health, even as he's allegedly checking out emotionally, dodging her in public, and still getting emotionally wrecked by Selena's new life. According to that interview, Justin kept calling Selena for the first year of the marriage, tracking her down through mutual friends every time she changed her number. Imagine that. You finally win the man you chased for years, allegedly trick him into committing, And then you realize his heart is still locked in a toxic loop with his ex. Of course, that fuels obsession. Of course, that turns every Selena move, a new album, an engagement to Benny Blanco, a public appearance, into a fresh stab wound. Hailey isn't just fighting for her marriage, she's fighting a ghost relationship that existed long before the courthouse and, in a lot of fans' minds, never really died. So she doubles down. The makeup line, the curated photos, the carefully staged content. Even the weird little things, like allegedly staging videos to make it look like Justin is there with her when he's not, or reportedly sending a Bieber lookalike out in a hoodie when the real one doesn't want to show up. That's not romance, that's damage control. Now layer in the baby and the missing prenup, and you see why the word stuck keeps coming up around Justin. On one side, you've got a son who didn't ask for any of this and deserves a present, stable father. Walking away from the marriage doesn't mean walking away from fatherhood, but in a public circus like this, it becomes nearly impossible to separate the two cleanly. Any custody fight would drag every rumor, every drug allegation, every breakdown, and every old story back into the spotlight, including the stuff tied to Diddy, the church pastors, and those deeply uncomfortable accusations about underage parties and key nights from his early years. On the other side, you've got his fortune. If there truly is no prenup, any divorce becomes not just emotional warfare, but a financial earthquake. Settlements, ongoing support, potential claims over future earnings, all of it negotiated in the shadow of a narrative where he's the messy, unstable husband and she's the polished, long-suffering wife who stood by her man. That is not a battle he wins easily in the court of public opinion, even if some of the ugliest rumors about how this marriage started turned out to be true. So what you're seeing now, the live streams where he looks hollowed out, the scattered posts, the strange public distance from his own wife, the way he seems haunted by Selena's new life with his former friend, fits a larger pattern. A guy who made one massive decision in a moment of emotional chaos and has been trying to survive the consequences ever since. The transcript paints him as someone who has been used, mishandled, and pushed around by almost every adult power structure that ever touched his life. His mother, who effectively handed him over to the industry, the managers, the pastors, the moguls who allegedly exploited him, and now a marriage that may have begun under false pretenses and locked his heart, his child, and his money into a situation he can't easily escape. Whether you believe every rumor or not, the emotional truth at the center of this story is simple. Justin Bieber does not look like a man at peace. He looks like someone pacing the walls of a life that never really fit, held in place by a baby he loves, a fortune he can't risk, and a marriage that, if these whispers are even half true, started with a lie he may never fully outrun. At the end of the day, nobody really knows what happens behind those gates or inside that Beverly Hills mansion, but Justin's eyes, his behavior, and the chaos around him are telling a story louder than any PR statement ever could. Is this a love story gone wrong? A carefully engineered trap? Or the final chapter of a man who's been used since he was a teenager and doesn't know how to break free? One thing's for sure, this isn't over. As the rumors grow, the crashes get worse, and the stakes rise with a baby and $1 billion legacy on the line, the truth about this marriage is going to be harder and harder to hide. If you want me to keep digging into the Justin, Hailey, Selena, and Benny saga and all the hidden receipts behind it, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Do you think Justin is trapped, or is he choosing this life? Let me know what you believe, and I'll see you in the next episode.